at the Grand Egyptian Museum, which has just been fully opened for 4 days. It's November 7th. It's a Friday, and it looks like all of Egypt has come out for this opening. It is massively crowded, but we're here to see the Tutankhamun Halls, the exhibit of all 5,600 of his objects, 5,600, beautifully restored. Some of them have never come out of the box since Carter found the pieces back in 1923. So let's walk into the Great Hall and see what we can see today in this beautiful museum, the world's largest archaeological museum in the world. We're going up the escalator to the second floor to the main exhibits. But along here is the great royal staircase. And you have the wonderful 4 different sections, actually. We start with the image of kingship. And you see these incredibly famous statues of the great kings of Egypt. I'm looking at the big ears and fierce face of Senwosret the third, I believe, right directly across from me here. Local Egyptians is very popular. He's like a superstar. Akhenaten, look at him. No one looks like Akhenaten, and everybody loves him. Today, in ancient times, he was the criminal. But this is the royal staircase. We're in the middle of the Grand Egyptian Museum in the 12 great halls. And this is Gallery 8, and it focuses on the great kings of the New Kingdom. Behind me, you can see, most notably, the great Queen Hatshepsut holding her new vases, her wine jars. This is right in front here. To the other side, you'll see Thutmose the Great, the Napoleon of Egypt, and many statues of the great kings of the most powerful dynasty of all, the 18th dynasty, the beginning of the New Kingdom. We're on our way, though, to the Tutankhamun Halls that have just opened. This is the rather chaotic entrance to the great Tutankhamun Halls. There's no signage, there's no big welcome to Tut. You just enter in and suddenly you're faced with a bunch of chariots. It seems to be organized into sections: public display, home life. I know way up there, there's going to be the mask and the greatest golden objects of Tut. But you weave your way through different sections. Right now, she says, coming soon, there will be better signage and a map. But right now, it's all pretty higgledy-piggledy. It's all over the map. So let's go explore. Look at the details of this most fabulous chariot of Tutankhamun. You've got the Horus bird with the sun disk on his head, the prisoner, the bound prisoner at its head. It's gorgeous. And the actual chariot itself with inlays of lapis and carnelian and turquoise. How absolutely stunning. This is a gorgeous display, beautifully beautifully carved bow case of King Tutankhamun, and many of his bows. Gosh, there's got to be about 12 on display, and over 400 arrows.
And the bows that you see here are mainly ceremonial. They're not able to be strung. The ends are covered in gold leaf, and there's actually a bow that is completely in gold leaf. So these are just ceremonial bows for King Tut.
It's incredible the amount of cloth that was found in his tomb. And this is the most intimate of intimate apparel. This is Tutankhamun's loincloth. Yes, his underwear. I don't know, I feel a little bit embarrassed looking at it. Should we even be looking at this great king's panties? But there it is, a display of his loincloths, and he had many of them in his tomb. Many people don't know, but Tutankhamun was a shoeaholic. He had almost 100 pairs of shoes in his tomb, and some of them have been beautifully restored, and other of them are looking pretty rough here. Some of them have gold, they're gold encrusted. I know that there are ones that have been more elaborately restored, but this just gives you an idea of the volume of shoes that were in his tomb. Tumble down in the annex, and you can see we have repeating Isis knot and Jed pillar on one of them. and we have Wa's scepter of power and the Ankh on the other. They were filled with different objects when they were found by Carter. The annex had been robbed, so everything was in a terrible condition. But look, they look as beautiful as any piece of Victorian furniture. Really gorgeous. Rosewood, gold, ebony. Lovely objects from the annex of the tomb. This is the beautiful painted box of Tutankhamun, one of the most exquisite pieces. In fact, one of the first pieces that hit the front page of the papers when they began to publish the finds of Howard Carter. Take a look at the beautiful images of Tutankhamun. On one side, he is fighting the Syrians, and on the other side, he's fighting the Nubians. And on the ends, he is like a sphinx trampling the enemy. Howard Carter felt it was so exquisite, like one of the best Persian miniatures in its construction. An absolutely stunning piece. Inside it were random things. There were folded up garments and I believe some sandals of his, but really, really beautiful. We're looking at the funerary beds, the great ceremonial ritual beds of King Tutankhamun. The front one is Mehit, the lion goddess. The middle one is Mehet Weret, the celestial cow goddess. And the one far to the south is Amit, the devourer, that part hippo goddess. Look at the ivory teeth. These were not intended for Tutankhamun to sleep on. These were for the funeral ritual beds for the final rites before he's buried. This is the splendid outer coffin, this massive outer coffin of King Tutankhamun that was found by Carter in actually 100 years ago. It was in 1925 that he finally penetrated to this coffin. It's holding the crook and flail, is plated in gold. Absolutely wonderful restoration they've done on this gorgeous outer coffin. The second coffin, and it's really a mysterious one because people are saying that the face is very similar. Doesn't look as much like Tutankhamun as it may to even Nefertiti. But this beautiful cloisonné, Egyptian cloisonné style, it makes it so distinctive. Look at the work with, again, the lapis and the turquoise and the carnelian inlaid in this gorgeous second coffin. Of Anubis, this guarded the treasury and was facing the burial chamber. It is a shrine. Actually, it would have been part of his funerary procession, carried on the shoulders of the funerary guests and brought here. The jackal was the god of mummification. Anubis performed the first mummification on Osiris, and this is this iconic object from the treasury of the tomb of King Tutankhamun. This is one of the two guardian statues that guarded the burial chamber. It's statues, life-size statues of King Tut in gilded wood. And you can see his skin is black, not because he was Nubian, but because it was black, like the skin of Osiris, the black soil of Egypt, regeneration. Beautiful. This guarded the burial chamber. There were two of them. They were the last objects to be removed from the tomb. Canopic shrine of Tut, guarded by the four protective deities, Isis, Neith, Selket, and Nephthys. Look at the protective deities. Look at the uraeus, the cobras. I'm looking down at the incredible mass of humanity surrounding the new display of the great golden mask of Tutankhamun, which was found by Howard Carter, of course, on the mummy. This beautiful piece was actually in two parts. There was the inner part with distinctively the face of Tutankhamun, and there was the outer part, which may, some say, have been designed for Nefertiti. Anyway, that's being disputed. Whichever way you look at it, it's tremendous. It's gold, lapis, turquoise, carnelian, very heavy, very exquisite. And there it is in its new home So we've just been doing the walkthrough of this somewhat confusing but very comprehensive collection of all of the objects of Tutankhamun. I know I probably missed even 50% of it. There's all sorts of things packed in these two halls. Overall, it's a bit dim, the lighting in here. I think they still need some more clear signage, but it is wonderful. Some of these collections, some of these exhibits are overwhelming, right? When you look at the boxes of the meat mummies and the shabtis.
Thousands of shabtis, and absolutely.
And what do you think was really good or really bad about the collection?
Well, you mentioned the lighting, and it's interesting that the displays are in 3 languages, right?
The displays are in 3
Arabic,
languages.
English, and in Japanese, who contributed so much to the success and the building of this magnificent museum.
That's right. The Japanese contributed over $1 billion as a loan. So Al-Sisi, who has invested so much in this museum, is hoping that the crowds are going to come. Now, today, it looks like the crowds have come, but it's a lot of Egyptians, which is great because Egyptians are embracing. Lots of Egyptians here at 4 days after the opening of the Tutankhamun exhibit. And it's wonderful. We're going to explore more, and you should come. Everybody should come to see this collection.